All right. Welcome to Fire Engineering Podcast, the training officer. I'm your host, Dave McGlynn. Fire Engineering Podcast is brought to you by our sponsors, IFSTA, Tenkata, Magna Grip, and Emergency Networking. Thank you guys for all your help in sponsoring what we're able to do here with Fire Engineering Podcast and showcase all the information that we need to and get that out to everybody in the podcast world. So if you're new to the show, I want to thank you for joining in or tuning in, listening, however you're going to do it. Fire engineering has like so many different syndicates now and versions of how they send this or share this information. So if you're watching, cool. If you're listening, even cooler. Thank you. So the show is called The Training Officer. We talk about things that the training officer does, the roles and responsibilities of the training officer, training firefighters, the importance of being in a position of influence. We also talk about networking with people, and we try to tap into people that have obviously a training background, but more importantly, just an understanding and a passion or desire for developing other people. So tonight, people typically know, I try to pick a guest that I feel is good for the show, but I also will try to have somebody that has a personal connection to me. So tonight, I'm joined by my very good dear friend and my partner in crime from when I was up at West Point, Ken Canfield. Chief Canfield is a dedicated firefighter with 30 years combined experience in career and volunteer. He's been a chief officer for over 6 years. He's nationally certified executive fire officer 4, fire service instructor 3, fire inspector 3, hazmat incident command technician, fire safety educator, as well as a New York State EMT. In addition, he's professionally credentialed as a fire marshal through the Center for Public Safety Excellence, CPSE. He is a subject matter expert in performing technical reviews in accordance with applicable codes of contract prepared documents, conducting facility fire risk management surveys, directing crews in fire suppression, technical rescue, hazardous material response and containment, emergency medical response, and developing and presenting public education campaigns. He's got years of experience in working with the public through community outreach programs. He's experienced in training adults, children, and other firefighters in fire prevention, building inspection, fire inspection procedures, structural firefighting techniques, hazardous materials awareness, hazardous materials operation, and technical rescue operations. He's also versed in managing personnel and incident command. So there's a lot of good stuff there. And one of the things that, so Ken, just for the disclosure for everybody going to be listening, so Ken is he's like my older brother, man. I've been through some times, and that guy kept me going, and he's a great guy. This being Fire Prevention Week, I wanted him because he has such a great background in all facets of our thing, but he also has the background with fire prevention, and he's done it a number of years, in both in the city world and the municipal side, and then where he's at now at West Point, New York. Where he manages the fire prevention branch as the chief of that branch. It being Fire Prevention Week, what people need to understand is the importance of the education piece of that, and the onus of a training officer or somebody responsible for that on how we get that information out there. So, Ken, thank you so much for doing this. It's a long time overdue that we got to do this together, and just appreciate you being on, brother. Thank you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. It's a privilege to come on your show and have a little one-on-one discussion here, even though the whole world's listening to us.
Right.
We're gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
I'm a virgin to this, so I think it's going to be fun. I'm willing to sit here and chat, and we can have a good discussion, feedback back and forth.
Right. Cool, man. Thank you. So for the people that don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what inspired you to get into the fire service, and then follow that with your current position. What are some of the responsibilities and why that position is so important?
I think getting involved in the fire service, everybody always has a hook there. And what do I mean by that? I mean, it's very rare where people just go up and knock on the door and say, hey, I want to be a fireman. They always have somebody that's related to them, a family member, an uncle, an aunt, or whatever. And that's where I fit in here. My dad was a fireman in Hyde Park, New York, in the Roosevelt Fire District. And that was our life throughout growing up. Ever since I was, 7 years old, all the way up and through, we moved away when I was 18. We were always at the firehouse. He was intricately involved in the community there, and it was a way of our life. It was just everything revolved around the fire service. and that intrigued me. Initially he was didn't really want me to get involved in the fire service, so I came in a little bit later in life. I think I was like 21 when I initially joined the fire department. I joined Middle Hope Fire Department, which is in the town of Newburgh in Orange County, New York. And I went up through the ranks there, from firefighter up through the chief. And now I'm just a regular black hat who's trying to provide the best I can for my community still. It's been a really, I never forget where I came from, as well as everybody else. And I love what I do. It's still part of my life as much as it was when I was a young pup at 7 and 8 years old, running around the fire truck and, riding the calls with my dad, because we were able to do that back at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. And a few things you said. So like the one thing was that you love what you do. So like, so I've gotten to know you intimately and work with you side by side and us work on projects together and things together and see progressive growth in the organization that we were both at the same time. Ken's no spring chicken, so he's been doing this a long time. And as the seasoned senior big brother, the fact that you still stay so engaged and stuff. Like I know because I know you, so I would know when things would bother you and why they would bother you. And things that you were passionate about to make sure that they were implemented, right? I think that the biggest takeaway, other than that awesome background and your experience with growing up with your dad with Big Ken and all, and having him introduce you in that aspect, and then you falling in love with it eventually anyway, is just staying in love with it. Because as you and I know, there's so many different things and reasons of crap that happens that you fall out of love with a little bit,
You do.
and you find that you still find it. And I love that you said, I know that wasn't like the course that we were going to take, but just early in, you just said like, because I still love it. And it just sparked me because I'm like, yeah, man, like that's important.
It's very important. I mean, if you don't love it, then why are you doing it? Because when you start to fall out of love with it, that's when you take shortcuts, you make bad decisions, you can affect other people, and then you're just going through the motions step by step. And that's not why we're here. We're here to provide a service to the community. But I think more importantly, we're here for each other. We need to step up. We need to mentor the younger people, make them have an understanding of what the vision is, what clear expectations of how they could get there, and how can they become better every day. Then that's how I continue to look at it.
Right. Yeah, awesome. So then just touch on, so what are you doing now? So I know what your current is, sharing with the audience. So what's your current role? Yeah. What's your current title? And like, what does that involve? What's the importance of that?
So currently I'm the assistant chief assigned to manage the community risk reduction program, or the fire prevention bureau. The buzzwords that we have today, community risk reduction, that's a new buzzword. I currently do that, and for an installation that's one of the oldest installations in the country. So United States military at West Point, it's approximately 20,000 acres. We have a little, maybe 1,000 residential occupancies on the installation, probably 530, 540 commercial occupancies, which range from powerhouses, hospitals, barracks in which the cadets live in, academic buildings. There's a slew. We have a wide gamut of every occupancy you can think of. Elementary schools, middle schools. So everything is there. We're a small city. At any given time, there could be 7 to 10,000 individuals on the installation until we have these NCAA events, and the population could quadruple, upwards of 50 or 60,000 people. So we're a small city. So I have an opportunity to provide community risk reduction to ensure safety for the entire community when they come to visit, whether they reside there full time and such. So it's a great thing. I take pride in what I do, as well as my team. that I work with, and the rest of the individuals within the department. We work at one of the greatest institutions in America.
IFSTA is dedicated to updating firefighting techniques and safety through the creation of our manuals, apps, curriculum, Resource One, and more. Our high-quality, technically accurate, and affordable training and education materials have made us a worldwide leader of the fire service. Visit us at ifsta.org for more information.
Right, so one of the things I just happen to know. So like, in protection of OPSEC, right? So what do you call it? West Point. Everybody knows what that is, okay? Unless you've been living under a rock. So it's a big deal, right? And it's constantly in the public eye. So one of the things outside of Ken doing incident command, scheduling, overtime, leave, being a chief officer, doing chief officer stuff, then managing the fire prevention branch and the community risk reduction, and attending meetings upon meetings. Like I remember what your day looked like. But then doing plans review. So like, this is the military academy. So the future Eisenhowers, the future Pattons, the future Bradleys, they're going to that organization. They're living in those facilities. Ken is one of the people responsible on whether or not the construction or the code for those facilities is up to snuff, and whether or not those people are allowed to eventually occupy those
Occupy the
buildings.
buildings, yeah.
Right. And that's like a huge responsibility that takes obviously a level of years of expertise, and not just like some jerk off that's going to go in there and be like, yeah, it looks good. Like I know, how dedicated you are to the responsibility of that. And I just wanted to share that with people. Is like, what you do is very important, because it essentially applies to the future people who run our country. So, there's a lot to that aspect. So I know what you do. I know it's really important. I wanted the audience to understand like the magnitude of what it is that you do.
It is big, and it's not just me. I'm not the sole provider for doing construction plan reviews. I'm a spoke in the wheel that works with a team. Amongst myself, there's other individuals that are checking and back checking, but we're all there for a common goal to provide, quality life, health, and safety for the individuals that are going to occupy any of the newer or reconstructed buildings that are there. So, but it takes a team. It can't be just one individual. I thank you for the kind words, and I appreciate that. You bring in a smile. You can see I'm smiling right now. It's awesome. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I can see your huge smile right now.
Yeah.
I love you. So, like I said early on, so it being Fire Prevention Week coming up, right, and that being a huge deal in our thing and all that. So tonight we're going to cover Fire Prevention Week. Why is Fire Prevention Week so important? And then what are some of the things that we need to ensure that the public and our people are trained on and that they're practicing during this week? Like, why is it so important? What are some of the things that we should make sure are covered this week?
Fire Prevention Week is huge. The only downside to Fire Prevention Week is that I would, and I might be wrong and mistaken, and I apologize if I'm, making a judgment, but I think that most organizations that are out there are only doing public education during Fire Prevention Week. That should be something that's done all year long, and that's where that community risk reduction program comes in. Fire Prevention Week is awesome because really we're paying homage. There's the word of the day. We're paying homage to at a tragedy. That was the whole reasoning why Fire Prevention Week was initiated, was because of that great Chicago fire back in the late 1800s. I forget the specific date.
Right.
But we're reinforcing that on a yearly basis. There's different topics that are being presented out there. This year, I think it's cooking fire safety. So that's going to be the theme for the week. But other than just teaching that cooking fire safety, departments, should be looking at their districts, looking at their fire demand zones, looking at their response areas, and target, do a statistical analysis of maybe of the runs that they're doing in there. And then, if it's automatic alarms because it's food on the stove, then they need to reinforce cooking safety and stuff like that. But if it's slip, trip, and falls at a senior center, they can reemphasize topics like that. Anytime we're able to touch the public, and even if it's 5 minutes, take the opportunity to have a discussion with them, and explain to them different, ins and outs on, or whatever was transpiring there, help them out.
Like a trusted turnout jacket you've had for years, Flex 7 outer shell fabric delivers a perfectly broken-in feel on the very first wear. Flexible, comfortable, and powered with the strength of Enforce technology, Flex 7 outer shell fabric is made to move. To learn more, visit tenkatafabrics.com/flex7. Flex 7, powered by Enforce technology. Only from Tenkata Protective Fabrics.
Right. So it's interesting you said that, because that makes sense, right? So it being Fire Prevention Week, that in itself, you're right. It's we have that to pay homage, right? Because of because of what happened, Mrs. O'Leary's cow thing and all that stuff.
Right.
But more importantly is we have a responsibility to, throughout the year, educate our people, capitalize on those opportunities. Like, you go to somebody's house for a fire alarm. That's an educational moment. We can explain to these people, right. And we explain to these people the importance of these things, as we're just doing pass-bys, inspections, routine walkthroughs, whatever it is, we're out shopping. These are moments where you're right, throughout the year. And that's the thing. I love that you said that, because, yes, we need to make sure that everybody understands exactly that is Fire Prevention Week. Wildfire Prevention Week is extremely important, and it is a great opportunity for us to showcase what we do and educate the public, because they're not always available, 51 or 50 of the other weeks that this is going on. We have the responsibility and are tasked with the service to every opportunity throw out some fire prevention education to our customers, which is the general public, so.
Agree with that wholeheartedly. Anytime we have an opportunity to interact with the public, whether it's an automatic alarm or anything, we should just at least take 5 minutes and say, give them a safety message, even just to say hello, and ask them how they're doing. You're out there. We're wearing the t-shirts. We need to represent. We're there ultimately. The fire service is a business, and we're there to provide a service to the community to ensure that they're safe.
Right. Right. Yeah, absolutely. So other than some of the things that you covered, I just, what are some of the things that, because this is the other issue that I've just noticed in my experience, right? So we focus Fire Prevention Week. Now it's kind of 2 weeks, it's so important that there's 3 different things that need to be covered, right? So we need to understand how to educate children. So anybody that's familiar with instruction and methodology, that's a completely different type of execution, right? Educating children. So for those of you that are responsible for that week or whatever, if you have daycare centers and schools, so like I know at West Point, we have schools and daycare centers that we have to make sure that these kids understand this kind of stuff. So you have to adjust your methodology to them. Then you have to educate the parents as well as the employees of the area that you serve. But then what we forget is to educate our firefighters. We oftentimes think this is more like we go through the motions, like who's going to dress as Sparky because we need somebody to, and you know what I mean? Who's going to do the voice of the robot thing if we need them to, or whatever, But we also need to explain to our guys, hey, these are some of the things that you should be saying buzzword wise and information wise, but then understand, believe in that shit too when you're saying
Yeah,
it.
you,
Like
you
not
definitely
you, but
have to.
them, our
No,
people.
you're right. They have to believe in it, and I think the only way they believe in it is not forcing them to get out there and interact with it in a public education event, but have them participate with you so they become more familiar and they have an understanding of what should be presented. That really
Hmm.
just if you have a discussion with somebody, right, wrong, or indifferent, you're going to feel more comfortable talking about whatever topic you're talking about.
Right.
And talking to kids versus talking to adults, I break it down in with kids like elementary school kids. It's more of a show and tell, a type of event. We're going to keep it down on the, and have them a lot more interaction with the show and tell, so they have an opportunity to ask questions and see what we look like and how we're going to act in an event and things what they should be doing with exit drills in the home and blah blah blah. But when we transition over to our adults and seniors, then we have to transition our methodology to think about, hey, it's not more of a show and tell. They might like that a little bit, but it's more of adults like problems. Adults, they want to have they're challenged by solving
Right.
problems. So we
I
need to
agree with
work
that.
that in. We need to work that into the topic that we're presenting to them to get the message across.
Breathing in diesel exhaust fumes is like walking into a fire without a mask. Over time, those toxins lead to cancer. Protect yourself with MagnaGrip, the easiest, most reliable exhaust removal system that features a true 100% seal to eliminate diesel exhaust fumes. To get free grant assistance, visit magnagrip.com.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. And that's how I was, it's part of the next part of it is just, for you, there's no definitive answer. I just, in your experience, like just asking you, like you were kind of just delivering it, so like for somebody, let's say somebody who's learning how to do this kind of stuff in this educational piece, somebody that just took on this responsibility and they're tasked with this, they're saying, hey, it's Fire Prevention Week and we need you to make sure that you go out and do public education. And oh, by the way, it's going to be this many adults and this many children, right? So like, if you could, I know you discussed some of it, just if you could, give some of the differences in some suggested nuggets that you would have for helping the people gain that success when they have to do the kids part, how what they should maybe be looking for, planning wise, et cetera.
You always want to set everybody up for success. You don't want to see anybody fail. And I think the first part of success is preparation. In order for them, you can't just show up on roll call and say, "Hey, you're doing stop, drop, and roll."
Know that happens.
You're not going to do stop, drop, and roll for 40 kindergartners at that time with a guy that just got out of off of probation or is fairly new to the fire service. So
right.
Prepping them, giving them an opportunity, a couple weeks beforehand, show them a lesson plan, have everything built out for them and give them the opportunity to practice it in front of the guys during maybe one of the drill sessions during the day, just so it can build confidence on those individuals that are standing up there. It's not easy standing up in front of people and having, teaching. You should be more of, it shouldn't be teaching. It should be you're having a discussion. And you need to make them feel more comfortable to have that discussion versus you standing up there and lecturing and waiting for a response. It all goes back to preparation. The more you do it, the more comfortable you are going to be doing and giving that topic. And you can play off the audience, and react to their questions or their reactions that you may see, facial expressions or whatever. So, but preparation is probably the number one thing, and that goes for anything that we do. In the fire service, you need to prepare, and then you need to practice and feel confident. Stand behind your convictions. You heard that word from me a bazillion times.
It's one of my favorite things.
You just need to stand up there and do it, and not be afraid. Look at me. I'm a virgin to podcasts, and I'm here now. And I'm just going to get up here. I'm doing it. You like it or you don't. I'm sorry. Everybody's got to start somewhere.
Right.
So,
right.
And it's cool.
No, I love all that. That's that's good stuff, because like I think that's the thing is like there's two sides to this. So when it comes to this, you get either thrust into this, right? Like you said before, like who's the probie? That's the guy that we're just going to make do this, right? So you get people that are thrust into it, and then it loses its luster because we frame it in this way that it becomes a chore and an assignment.
Yeah.
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 And then the other piece is we're not prepared, in the sense that we didn't take it serious. We didn't believe that it was part of it was a serious mission. We didn't campaign it to ourselves, and that's why I said, like, what's the most important thing for also educating our people? Because what we fail to realize is, and this is just in my experience, like doing this, right? So like these 2 weeks, more than any other time throughout the year, are the most opportune times for you to really showcase your talents, who you are, what you're about. Because what we forget is the kids, man, they're the most impressionable, right?
Oh yeah,
And
kids definitely.
if we captivate those kids, they nag the shit out of their
Oh
parents,
yeah, yeah.
about how awesome, oh man, the fire department, and Daddy, can I go to the firehouse? Daddy, can we see the fire? Mommy, can I see the fire trucks? And that invites them to come and see us. And these are our stakeholders. These are the people that, we then get to sneak those conversations in of like, yeah, like this is our situation right now. We're hoping to be able to get this. Oh, you serious? You guys need that? Yeah. Oh, well, I know a person. And that's how, and that's where we really need to be bought in on how we look just pristine during those 2 weeks leading up to. And that's why the educational piece, outside of the year long with the stakeholders, but also to our own people inside of our fire departments, is making them believe that this is important, because not only is the education piece important for the safety and well-being of people, right, but also the mission marketing piece. So that's what I just wanted to tie into that. And I know you're going to jump right in. So I just wanted to say, like, what are some of the positive impacts that the fire department gets during Fire Prevention Week, like with the mission marketing and the public life safety?
Mission marketing is huge. We're there. We're promoting who we are. What is our mission? What's our vision? Where are we now? Where do we want to go into the future? And we need to promote that to the public. It's not so much in the federal government where we work, but most definitely out in a municipality or a career municipality or volunteer fire department. They're there. They're out. They need to promote. Excuse me, to those town council people. It allows them to develop a rapport and get buy-in from those external stakeholders, because when it's time to come vote for that new ladder truck or add additional staffing, you take any opportunity you can do to have those discussions with those people. I mean, I know we're getting a little bit off topic in regards to fire prevention, but we're talking about mission marketing, and that's a big thing. We need to get buy-in. Everybody should be on the same page and know where we are and where we're going.
Seconds count when responding to an emergency. Minutes save count when documenting your day. Emergency Networking makes records management easier and faster with its fire and EMS solution. User-friendly, complete online and offline functionality, highly customizable, all at an affordable price. For more information, please visit emergencynetworking.com.
Right. And it's not necessarily that it's off topic. Like I want people to understand, like, the Fire Prevention Week is so important in general, right? So like the purpose of it, the reason behind it, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But just for the listener, I don't want people to look at these 2 weeks as a pain in the ass of like, what's the theme? We got to get guys out to the schools. We're going to be handing out. Who's handing out?
I think that people have that.
Smoke detectors, and
some people might have that attitude of like that, because they're only looking at it from one side. They're looking at it
right.
from the suppression aspect of it. And hey, we're just here to go out and mitigate an emergency. Whether it be a structural fire, whether it be smells and bells, or whatever. and they need to look at the full circle. Is that, and I'm not tooting my own horn, but fire prevention is the way for the future here for the fire service. That's the way. Between that and EMS, that's going to be that's where we're going, and you need to get buy-in from our internal people so we can have a successful outcome in presenting to our community, our external partners.
Right. And that's another thing that, like I've seen this firsthand just from us working together. Yeah, the whole nomads, thing.
Oh yeah.
But seriously, like it doesn't matter how many people. So if you have, because not everybody has an organized fire prevention branch. So, but let's just, for sake of discussion, let's just say you do. Okay. So if you have one, whether it consists of 2, 3, 6 people, that is a third of your organization. It is literally a third. It doesn't matter the quantity of people in there. It's what they do, what they're responsible for. So
when you look at, you're right, a third of an organization. If just to bring it into context, if you had 3 pillars holding up a building, it's prevention, suppression, and training.
Right.
And it's just they're intricate parts of the fire department. Right.
And I think that's what people need to understand. That's why I wanted to have you on and have this as part of the show. Is like this prevention piece is equally as important. It's always nice to talk about the sexy stuff, the salt and seeing fire, because that's the shit that gets us off. That's the cool part about our job.
Right.
But how do we continue to have that piece of fun and to get people? How do we continue to recruit people and educate people? That's why I say, like, that's through your fire prevention team. That's through the people that are literally out there talking to the public. And they're also our SMEs in regard to, like, we need something. So we got to convince the bean counters of this need, right? That we need for ops and suppression.
Right.
Who do we ask to get us the data? Fire prevention. Right. You know what I mean? Like, so they keep the ops people in business. And yet they're, it's like, well, like, oh, well, they're not, like, no, they're very much part of the organization. They're a third of the organization. Like it topples over if one of those 3 pillars falls off.
Correct.
No, so I want, like I said, I just wanted that. I want people to understand that, like, these 2 weeks are extremely important for us to take serious. Because it is that opportunity for us to gauge our public, to market our missions, to educate the public, to captivate the kids, because the kids then, they're impressionable. So then they bring that support with their parents. It's also an opportunity for us to get on our game. You start to understand the value and importance of fire prevention, start to understand, like why it exists. Right. So while we were doing this, I was just looking up just to make sure that we knew it. So is the fire, the Great Chicago Fire, was in 1871, October 8th. It burned from October 8th to October 10th, 1871. Right. So, understanding why that week exists and then where we've come as a result of it since. And kind of gives like some perspective of like how we have evolved out of necessity for preparedness through tragedy, of course. But I'm saying, like, what we've done, like, now we're more prepared. We regularly try to become more prepared. We regularly argue that we need to be more progressive rather than regressive, right? Though the very nature of our existence and fire prevention and code is out of reactivity, still we find ways to be progressive to these things. We find ways to educate ourselves, grow, educate our public, our people. And in the training world, whether you're an instructor or training officer, whatever it is, understanding this fire prevention stuff is important. That's why, remember, I don't know if he's still doing, I'm sure, you guys still do it. D-Fran does a decent job over there, but, when I was there, like, remember you and I would talk about different training topics and stuff like that. That was nice because you had background in multiple things, but then you would do building construction. You would do fire inspection procedures. We would teach that to our guys. We used to do those in the
Right.
winter months because we weren't out pulling hose and stuff.
Right.
So we would do those when we had classroom time. We did it every year, because that stuff's important. Like, people have this mindset that's, oh, well, that's the fire prevention side. Like, no, it's not. Like,
No.
firefighters need to know building
Two
construction.
of the most important things they knew: fire dynamics and building construction are the two top topics that a basic firefighter needs to have. He needs to be as sharp as a razor blade with those things.
Right,
And people,
right. You're 100% right.
they kind of fall to the wayside, I think, because it's not the sexy thing, and
Yeah.
it's important. It's important. It's huge.
Yeah, yeah, and like, that's just, like, some of the things that, like, I want people to understand. The audience that's listening and the people who are watching or whatever is just like, this stuff needs to be taken serious. I'm fortunate that the show airs, during Fire Prevention Week for this month, right? It's like, captivate your audience and capitalize on this opportunity. Like you said, you should do this all year long, educating people and staying up on your game. But don't make Fire Prevention Week a chore. Use this as an opportunity to train the public, educate the public, and be on your game so that, they know who we are. We're not just the people, so that then they don't only see us those 2 weeks a year.
Right.
Be so monumental that now it's like a year, lifelong thing,
And also, it goes down to like forming partners with people in the community. After you left, we formed a partnership where we do monthly events with autistic children on the installation. And we take that opportunity to spend time with them, let them see who we are. We tell them who, they know us, we know them. They might not know our names, but they recognize the faces, and they have an understanding of what what we do and why we're there. And we're compassionate to them, and we hang out and we have a good time. It's really, and that's just one of the instances where, I said that fire prevention is all year long. That's just one group that we've established rapport with that I think it's been a huge success. It goes back to the mission marketing, where we're out there, we're promoting ourselves, what we do. We just don't sit in lounge chairs all day and respond to emergencies. There's way more involved than that.
Right. Right. That's unfortunate. That's the public's perception of it. And even sometimes our the people that financially support us perception.
Right.
I love that you guys are doing that. I did not know that. So that's awesome. One of the things that we're doing here, so I got one of these guys, Nate, that works here. He come up with this idea, and it's really done well. So we have the daycare center, right? And he does like this once a month. The firefighters read to the kids.
Yeah.
And we send a crew up there, and they read. A couple of the guys will read 2 or 3 books to the kids in a couple of different classrooms and whatnot.
Do that through Army Community Service?
No. We probably could, but no. This is just like, we did a drill there, and the guy Nate was like, "Hey, so that when we're coming here, the kids aren't scared of us.
Right.
Would you be open to, like, if we just came and like read some Dr. Seuss books or something?" And the CDC people, the daycare people, they were like, "Yeah, like that would be so great." And we just kind of did it on our own with them and us, and it's been low key, but now our public affairs people have caught wind of it, so now they want to do a story on it, which is awesome. Like, this is like, like, we didn't even intend on that. Right. And now, like, they're going to do a story here, I think next week or whatever, which is perfect. It's during Fire Prevention Week, and we're going to be reading to kids, and she's going to do a story on it. So it's like, this is great, especially during the financial troubles that we're dealing with right now, and the new fiscal year budget coming out. It's like, this is like, I put this guy in for an award And that wasn't even what he was looking for, just because this was like,
Right.
why didn't we think of this? Like, what a way to
Yeah.
gauge our people.
That's innovative thinking, man. That's progressive. That's what you want your people to do, is to come up with new ideas like that to promote the organization.
Right.
It gets, when they see that, and you consistently do it, it has positive outcomes, and you get buy-in. You get buy-in. You get buy-in internally, which makes it more successful for your organization.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. It takes, and not to be cliche, like the NFL, it takes all of us, but like in this aspect, it does. It takes all of us, Yeah.
It
No,
does.
but it does. It absolutely takes all of us, and that's how you do. Because the other thing is once that stuff. So like I'll tell you, like this reading thing, right? So like when Nate started it, I don't remember, like back in May or something, something like that. It was like, like the guys are like, I'm not going out there, like, I have to do this. And it has gotten so much buzz that now, like, nobody's saying no. Like, they're like, oh yeah, cool, man, let's go out there, So it's like that stuff almost naturally works itself out. I always say that, like, everybody wants to be popular, regardless of their they're trying to be modest or whatever. Like, and when you see this thing that is gaining some notoriety, you no longer are opposed to it. Now, there's always going to be those couple.
Right. You're always going to
We
have
know.
Mason. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There's always going to be the 10 percenters. But for the most part, like it starts to really gain its own kind of following. And the thing is that's technically a, life safety education, public education, fire prevention thing
It
that
is.
we're doing this through,
It
and they don't
is.
realize it, it's
Yeah.
like how important that is.
That rapport that they're developing, they might not know names, but they're going to recognize faces, and it's going to make it that much easier when you go there for, a medical emergency, where they're going to feel more comfortable and they'll recognize the people that are there.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. 100%. So, one of the things that I typically cover in here, and I know you're familiar with it. So I always ask this thing: is in all that you're doing, with your life, with the girls, with Julie, with West Point, with your fire service career, everything, right? What legacy would you like to leave behind?
That's tough, man. You know that.
Everybody says that.
I'm a modest dude. If I could leave the organization one thing better than when I started, I think that would make my career. And I know that I was influential in, some pretty significant things that have transpired, but just one thing, and I'll be happy. Treating people as, have an understanding that the guys that are below me that are going to potentially move into my position, don't forget where you came from. Treat people as you wish to be treated. Please and thank you are pretty big with me. I think that motivates people a lot, and they appreciate it, and it continues to allow them to want to be around you. Just making it a little bit better than when you originally started. That would be, I guess. I don't know if I answered it that was what you wanted to hear, but I'm pretty
There's no
straight.
wrong way to answer this
No,
question.
there's no wrong way, and it's just that's a tough question.
I know. That's why I have it in there. So I'll say before I give you the floor one last time. So I'll say this, and I'm not going to get overly sentimental, because So you have already sealed a legacy for me. So like just for me personally speaking, right? So like not even just the stuff we covered. Just to kind of end it with like. So they say, you got mentors, right? So you have coaches and mentors. Coaches, they deal with stuff now. Mentors are for the long haul. That for your legacy, for me, just personally, right? So I had a hard time getting up there. So when I was up at West Point, so I was thrust into a position that I thought I knew, and I grew into. Um, if it wasn't for support from people like yourself, you didn't have to be there for me. I was an outsider. It wasn't for people that like yourself that kept me grounded. I to this day remember you saying stick to your convictions, and it's always resonated with me, and I appreciate it. We go through shit in our career that even the most what could be perceived as minuscule to others, that a thing where like not everybody knows what everybody else is going through, right? So like I was
Right,
away from
right.
my family. I had a newborn kid. Um, and I wasn't meshing well with a couple of different egos that you still work with. And it was tough, and you were always there for me, and I'm always going to appreciate the shit out of that. I'm always going to remember it forever. And the please and thank you thing, I know that that's always been something that you appreciated and expected from others. I'll just say every day somebody has the opportunity to have a monumental lifelong impact on somebody, and they don't even realize it. That's what makes it beautiful, and that's what makes it genuine. It's like the question, like I asked the question because it throws people off and it puts them on the spot. So from the bottom of my heart, I want to tell you thank you. And for the listener, I want them to understand that sometimes it's fun to break balls because this is what we do. And other times, you don't know what somebody's going through, and when you fuck with people and bully them, it could throw them off. And that's where people like you can, come in handy. I've had a lot of amazing opportunities in my life and in our profession to continue to grow and do these awesome things that are attributed to people like yourself who didn't allow me to regress or set back or give up. So I already know personally for me what your legacy is for me. But I just want to tell you I love you and I appreciate you. And I know it was hard when I left when, you didn't want to say goodbye. So I appreciate you, man. I miss you every day. It was Batman and Robin, the picture I'm going to use for the show
I,
that they're
I
going to
have,
use to market was the picture of you and I at the
yeah,
Newburgh fire. I just, you were my guy, man. You were my partner in
right.
crime, man.
Yeah. Plus, you never say goodbye. You say so long.
Right.
And it's just, we'll meet again, and we have, and we'll interact until we can't interact anymore. And it just goes back to the basics. Treat people as you wish to be treated, and if you have that mindset throughout life, I think that you're going to get along with people.
Yeah, you're right. So other than that, all this awesome stuff you've shared, so are there any other final words from you that you would like to put out, pass on, anything like that? Floor is yours.
No, I just thank you. I mean, this was an awesome opportunity. It was a learning experience for me. You got me out of my shell. I'm talking. It's difficult. It's not difficult for me, but I'm a virgin, like I said before. So this was definitely a unique experience. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
It wasn't hard. I took the leap. Wasn't afraid of it. I'm glad I did it. And thank you.
I'm glad you did it. Yeah, I'm glad you did. So one more thing. So I got the show 5 years ago, and you were there to see me do these many times. While I'd be up at West Point.
I didn't want to do it.
I know. So that's what I'm saying. So to have you finally on, I love it. I love that that we're able to do it, and it just made it awesome. And then just because of what I really appreciate, other than just knowing how long it took for us to get you to do this, but just just that is like it was so fitting that the show just fell during this time that you have this level of expertise and responsibility for that we could talk about that could be part of the theme other than just all the other cool stuff we covered was just that it's the fire prevention stuff and the fire prevention week thing. So I do, man. I appreciate you. I love you. I miss you, and hopefully I see you November 11th. Don't forget, I want to see if we can get tickets. I want to get me and Michael to get up to the game up there. So.
Okay.
But yeah, hopefully we get up there and go Army, beat Navy, and thank you for being the brother that you are, man. I love you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dave.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. This is Dave McGlynn with Fire Engineering Podcast, the training officer. Wish you all the best. Stay safe and train hard.
IFSTA is dedicated to updating firefighting techniques and safety through the creation of our manuals, apps, curriculum, Resource One, and more. Our high-quality, technically accurate, and affordable training and education materials have made us a worldwide leader of the fire service. Visit us at ifsta.org for more information.
Like a trusted turnout jacket you've had for years, Flex 7 outer shell fabric delivers a perfectly broken-in feel on the very first wear. Flexible, comfortable, and powered with the strength of Enforce technology, Flex 7 outer shell fabric is made to move. To learn more, visit tenkatafabrics.com/flex7. Flex 7, powered by Enforce technology. Only from Tenkata Protective Fabrics.
Breathing in diesel exhaust fumes is like walking into a fire without a mask. Over time, those toxins lead to cancer. Protect yourself with MagnaGrip, the easiest, most reliable exhaust removal system that features a true 100% seal to eliminate diesel exhaust fumes. To get free grant assistance, visit magnagrip.com. Seconds count when responding to an emergency. Minutes save count when documenting your day. Emergency Networking makes records management easier and faster with its Fire and EMS solution. User-friendly, complete online and offline functionality, highly customizable, all at an affordable price. For more information, please visit emergencynetworking.com.